Continuing with chapter 13, now verse 6 says, and he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God. When the Antichrist comes to power, he will blaspheme God. To blaspheme his name, he's going to blaspheme the name of God, and his tabernacle, that's heaven, and them that dwell in heaven. Now just think about what's going on here. The Antichrist has received power. He's going to rule for 42 months on this earth. Everyone knows, everyone on earth, okay, knows and understands that the great multitude has been raptured at the beginning of the 7-year Great Tribulation, that the 2 witnesses were killed, came back to life 3.5 days later, and are now up in heaven. So it's not like it's a secret here that God exists and he's real. No, it's already known. The whole earth knows that to be true, to be the fact. But he wants to come out and somehow he's going to portray God as evil and himself, the Antichrist, as good, right? So he blasphemes God. That's one of the first things he's going to do. Speak bad against God. Well, how could God do this and that? Kind of like the atheists do on YouTube today. To blaspheme his name. He's going to blaspheme God's name. You cannot take God's name in vain. For surely you will not go unpunished, according to Exodus chapter 20. And his tabernacle, that's heaven, okay? And them that dwell in heaven. So not only does he blaspheme heaven, God's tabernacle, but he blasphemes those that dwell in heaven. Who are those that dwell in heaven? How about the ones that were raptured, that were taken to heaven? How about the 2 witnesses that are in heaven? Okay, now let's go to chapter 16, verse 10. It talks about the 5th angel pouring his 5th vial or bowl, okay, upon the seat of the beast, the Antichrist and his kingdom, okay? And they gnawed their tongues for pain. And look at what happens here. And this is going to be including all the people that followed the Antichrist. And blasphemed the God of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds. So what does this tell us? This tells us that even though they know that God exists, they will blaspheme God. Amazing, huh? So when you hear all this atheists saying, well, just give us evidence to believe in God and we'll believe in him and we'll serve him. No, they won't. They hate God. They know that God exists. They just make a bunch of excuses about, well, there's not enough evidence. But they know God exists, and they blaspheme him today because they made the same decision that those angels that rejected God and followed Lucifer have made, and that's to hate God. This is why they will blaspheme, the Antichrist will blaspheme God, blaspheme his name, his tabernacle, heaven, and them that dwell in heaven. Pretty sad, isn't it? It's just reality. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints. Now, how could the Antichrist make war with the saints that were in heaven? Well, many people will come to their senses after they watched that the rapture took place. The 2 witnesses went to heaven after they were killed. They were resurrected and they went to heaven. So many will become martyrs. They will serve the Lord. So he made war with the saints, and he was given power to make war with them and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. In verse 4 of chapter 20 we read, and I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. What do we see here? We see the souls. But they what? They lived. That means they received their new immortal bodies just like we will in the rapture. And then they, with us, will reign with Christ 1,000 years. So this saints that the Antichrist will have power over and kill, he will overcome them, are actually going to rule with us and with Christ for 1,000 years in the millennial reign of Christ. Now going on to verse 8. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. How is it that they will all worship him. Why is that? I mean, don't they understand what is happening here and how God is real and they should worship God? Nope. They're going to worship the Antichrist. They will worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. We notice that some saints will be around here. So the saints are not going to worship him. But those whose names have not been written in the book of life of the Lamb, they are the ones who will worship him, the Antichrist. Now we go back to 2 Thessalonians 2:9. We read, as I went to this chapter in the previous video, whose coming is after the working of Satan. This is the Antichrist, with all power and signs and lying wonders. This is what he's going to have: power, signs, and lying wonders. That's what they're going to believe in him, partly. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they received not the love of the truth. That's why, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause, God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie. Why? Why would God send them strong delusion, and so they should believe a lie? Why is that? Because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. They know the truth, and they rejected it. This is why all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him. They'll believe those lying signs and wonders, but also because they rejected the truth of love, Jesus Christ. Verse 9, and this is God appealing to men, always. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I believe this is a message to those saints that are staying behind, that will be overcome by the Antichrist, as we just read. Okay? Because he's saying, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. And Jesus talked about that also in the gospel, saying that if you live by the sword, you will die by the sword. So to the saints that will be killed with the sword, you must understand that they who killed you are also going to be killed with the sword. So here is the patience and the faith of the saints. In other words, know this truth: God will have vengeance. And with this we end the second part, our second video of chapter 13. We'll continue in the next video with verse 11. God bless you.